but not least forgotten, Geraldo Lunas Campos. Geraldo Lunas Campos.
All right, folks, come on in. We have a situation. Lots of people have stormed into the Minnesota Capitol in St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and they're demanding justice for Renee Good and Alex Preddy. So we're going to listen in and see what's going on. They're marching around the Capitol here inside the hallways of the Minnesota Capitol. And we're going to see what's going on here.
Any one of us could be next. Any one of us could be next. I could be taking down the brother next to me just because of color skin. I could be trying to help him up and they could shoot me. Or he could be helping me up and they could shoot and murder him. Any one of us could be the next name. So go out of your way to add these names on our signs when we go to future protests. Because any one of us could be next. Any single one of us could be next. They murdered him in cold blood. The worst thing that really pisses me off is those on the right always love bragging about the right to carry. So this man exercised his right to carry. But there's always a but with them. Now there's a but it's at a protest. Let this sink in what I'm about to tell you. Jake Lang, the Nazi who came to Minnesota just recently, had an aluminum bat. Thousands of them had weapons. They planted pipe bombs in the Capitol. See, a lot of people forget. Too many people in this country quickly forget. It takes one Super Bowl party and everybody forgets. They had pipe bombs planted in the Capitol of the United States. They took human feces. For those of you who don't know, Jake Lang and the thousands that were with him on January 6th, they took human feces and put them in bags and they plastered it around the walls of the Capitol. They attacked FBI agents and police with bats. Every single one of them was pardoned by Trump. The same people, the same MAGA people that criticize those of us who are speaking out for Renee Good and Alex Preddy, I bet you anything, majority of them, tell them. I told one at Lifetime once, I dare you to open your social media. I bet you have posts supporting those on January 6th. Go ahead, prove me wrong. He wouldn't do it. They support that, but they're upset that Renee Good was simply trying to go ahead and drive away in her car. Or Alex Preddy was helping a woman up, and they justify that. So please remember that any one of us could be next. Don't let any of those people ever talk you into changing what Jelani was telling us. We will shake up the United States of America here from Minnesota. Just remember that.
And so, as I said earlier as well, we all woke up this morning knowing that our victory is a days and days closer. Little man Bavino is out. Little Bavino is out. We de-iced Bavino, y'all. That is a testament of Minnesota. But we are standing here in front of the governor. We are here today because this is the people's house. We have been waiting for justice for Renee. It has been too long and we are demanding that the governor and the leadership of the state not give us the be calm. Tell us when they are bringing justice down on those who killed and murdered our innocent neighbors. That is what we're asking the governor, the attorney general, Hennepin County, Minneapolis police, and the sheriff, and everyone, including the BCA. You know that they have left even evidence that the BCA was able to collect that even the federal government was not able to take with them. How shameful these people are. So we are winning. It's a testament of our community. We need to hold space here today. We're going to have the basement where we came from, that space. We're going to be here all day until 5 o'clock when they close. So some of you maybe are going to hearing and watching. Please continue to show up. For those who want to stand here, continue to march or protest right out here peacefully, please do so. For those who want to continue to be down there, you can. But this is the people's house. We're not going anywhere. For some of you, we want to go back to the rotunda or take the space of this building and walk around and hold space. We need to know that Minnesotans are going to continue to come to the Capitol to demand justice for Renee Good, to demand justice for Alex Preddy, and demand justice for all Minnesotans who are under threat and siege by this federal police. This is unexpected by many of us, but we are here today. And so for Minnesotans, we're asking every single one of you, in this moment, we have one other ask that we have been asking. We need to ensure both our two senators do not vote for additional funding for ICE. We need that message out and clear. And to all of the people across the country who are saying, what is Minnesota asking? We're asking for you to reach out to your senators, visit their offices, and call their offices and let them know that America is watching, that you are watching, and you're not going to allow for them to get away with supporting more federal funding for ICE. ICE came to Minnesota to target our community, and what they have found in Minnesota is their coffin, the end of ICE in Minnesota. Minnesota will end it. We will end it. We know how to deal with ICE. We've been dealing with it since our lifetime. We might as well end this ICE version too as well. Whether we sit on it, melt it, whatever we do, we're going to continue to stand up for each other. And Minnesota, in this moment, to all the neighbors, to all the people who are hurting in this moment, I've said this, I'm going to continue to say it. We love you. We see you. You know, take time to take care of each other. Take time to connect with your neighbors. This is a time for us. We are more united ever before. Many of us have seen our neighbors. I have seen the love and support that I've seen from so many people. I was just in Costco a couple of days ago, and as soon as I walked in, I got a hug. That is what Minnesotans are doing right now. We are bonding as a community and fighting our lives for this country, to defend the Constitution and to make sure the rule of law is the rule of law. And no one is above the law. No one is above the law. We're going to do that. So thank you for being here. Like I said, for those who want to hang around here, continue. For those who want to continue, move around the building, do so. We're going to have the basement, and we're going to close it with the Asada Shakur.
All right, my name is Cortez Rice. I'm a national civil rights activist from Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's not forget, Governor Walz is here meeting with Border Patrol Tom Homan right now. I call him moron. But just because one is leaving and another one is coming in, that don't mean that everything is just going to stop. We have to continue to stay vigilant, continue to stand in solidarity with our communities. Keep your whistles, keep your phones, and always send the police and federal ICE agents. They're the same. But right now, fist up. I'm gonna say the Asada Shakur chant, and y'all repeat after me. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our change. We have nothing to lose but our change. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. Let's love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our change. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to fight for our freedom. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. We have nothing to lose but our change. We have nothing to lose but our change. We have nothing to lose but our change. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people.
All right, so we are in the Minnesota Capitol building of Minnesota. They vow they're not going to leave. They're going to be going around the halls and the rotunda. I don't know how long they're going to be here for, what they're asking for, what their demands are, but they're also at the governor's office, and they're there. And you notice the one guy right here, this guy, the guy right there in the center, he's the guy that we been covering yesterday at the press conference. I guess he's the leader of CARE. He was saying some really wild stuff yesterday, calling for the arrest of Kristi Noem and Greg Bavino. He was calling for their actual arrest warrant. So we don't know if this is, legit as far as if they're allowed to be in here. How long will they be allowed to be here? Will the police come? What's going on here? Knowing Walz, he probably welcomes this stuff. But keep in mind, there's a lot of people in the chat are saying comparisons to January 6th. People went to the Capitol January 6th and got arrested. Are they welcoming? Are they going to allow them people to stay, or what's going on here? We shall see.
I'd like to be in the room at that time.
Yeah.
Laura? Hi, I'm Floyd. You too. I'm just working independently with some local folks. How about you? You pick. No. You heard that he's meeting with the governor at 2 o'clock. Somewhere. So once we stop, we have something to work on to 8 system, which Elbert likes to brag about, tested on Thanksgiving.
So it's about to be out. Now guess what? What suddenly stopped happening? 67 people. So no one stopped. Yeah, yeah.
So the way I heard it is they said they're not leaving. They're not leaving here. So I don't know how long they're going to stay here, but you see police walking around there or security, whoever there's security people there, probably in support of what's going on. I don't know if this is a sit-in. I don't know how long they plan to stay there. I don't know if they're protesting Tom Homan that is in the area today. Supposedly Tom Homan met with Walz. It's going to meet with Jacob Frey soon. Now, this is St. Paul, right? This is the capital in St. Paul, not Minneapolis, but we'll just say the Twin City area. We don't know where this goes, so we're just going to kind of see what's going on. It seems calm, but they were marching right before it came on. They were literally marching with their signs all over the place inside the state capitol. What are their demands? What do they want? So we'll also see where this is going. At the same time, there seems to be something popping off right now in Minneapolis in reference to lawmakers wanting explain how ICE is harming schools. They're about to speak. And then there's also community reactions to what's going on here in Minneapolis. But, you got Tom Homan there, Greg Bovino, commander at large no more, left. There looks like there's a shakeup, that possibly some sort of deals being made, in reference to ICE enforcement, Border Patrol, Operation Metro Surge. Operation Metro Surge could be leaving, but in return, the federal government wants officials to work with them on immigration enforcement. We shall see. There's a lot of talk, a lot of rumors going around. But I do think, though, there's things happening. There's things happening here. And I do think all parties here have come to their senses, in a sense, and are possibly working together here, some solutions here. But now they're also calling for the impeachment of Kristi Noem. Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrat leader of the House, is calling for she's saying she must resign or she's getting impeached. So they're starting to make demands about the impeachment of Kristi Noem. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. The President of the United States said today he had full confidence in Kristi Noem in her job, but is she the next to leave too? We shall see. Hopefully they go around somewhere and you can see what's going on. Move the camera around.
Very different things.
Now it makes me really wonder: is this over? Did they, because it was popping off here about a half hour ago? Is this over or what? They were talking about the rotunda, but as long as the feed's up, we'll just continue to monitor and find out what's going on. This is the group that was out speaking yesterday that we covered. The leader of CARE and some of the activists. This guy right here, the leader of CARE. So there's still people here. I don't know what their plans are, what they're going to do, or what's going on. It looks pretty calm right now. A lot of standing around now. So the next feed up is Minnesota lawmakers going to talk about how ICE affects the schools and everything like that. So they're going to bring school children involved and all that. So as soon as that is up, we'll switch over. But I just want to see here. I think this is dying down. I don't think this lasts much longer. Where did everyone go? There's still people out there, but unless they're in the rotunda in a certain area. Oh, look, they're handing out donuts and food. Gone. Everyone's gone. Oh, he was getting some donuts. It's empty now.
Oh, Homan is not going to come. Oh, we can find you. I was just heading back. Oh, you're outside the steps? I mean, you can come in for the marks for a second. Oh, yeah, no, it was this morning. It was a false trail.
Dude, where'd everybody go?
Wander down to the basement.
They're in the basement?
Sounds good, bad.
Might be in the basement. Yeah, I think he's going down to the basement. There are people down in the basement? Yeah, they're in the basement somewhere. Oh, what? So they very well bounced. AP puts down the thing usually to check on something. Showing you what the Capitol looks like. Hey, I'm going to go up to this something. They're about to speak about ICE out of the schools, and if something pops off here, we'll come back. But I want to turn to this for a second and just see what this is about here, because they're about to speak. They're at the thing. Let me just get this up here, because they're about to speak about ICE out of the schools. And
there's room over here. Well, we're going to get going right away. We have a lot to say. We have a lot to share. I want to thank you all for being here and listening to these stories. I think it's important that not only does the legislature hear what is really happening, boots on the ground in our communities, but the rest of Minnesota, because this is not just a Metro Minneapolis, St. Paul issue. And it's important that the rest of the country and the rest of the world understand the terror that Minnesota is experiencing, and it is our children that are suffering the most. It's been 9 weeks since I witnessed the first ICE raid with actions and violence, escalating with over 3,000 untrained, unsupervised, violent members of ICE terrorizing our communities in Minnesota, and my communities are seeing the worst. It never stops. Over the last several weeks, we have seen ICE engage in dragnet operations, targeting our immigrant neighbors and singling out Black and brown neighbors, regardless of their immigration status. ICE has strayed very far from their supposed mission of immigration and custom enforcement. We have seen countless videos of their unaccountable, unidentified, masked agents harassing, assaulting, kidnapping, and killing Minnesotans. The people who have allowed these masked agents to run rampant in our streets, violating our constitutional freedoms, our protections, and rights of the American people must face accountability, and we must see that justice is played out. Minnesotans are horrified by these actions, and on top of that, our federal agents stood by their actions. They attempted to spin their own narrative and told us repeatedly, don't believe your lying eyes. Senator Swedzinski and the House chairs and I bring this group together today because we want to share with our public what we are hearing of the devastating effects that ICE has had on our educational system that we have worked so hard to bring back from the COVID pandemic. As chairs of the Education, Finance, and Policy Committees, we have been nothing but intentional in addressing the mental health challenges, the absenteeism issues, and addressing all of those things that plague our students these past 4 years. And now it is very clear that we are right back at ground zero. One of the most significant effects that have been pervasive is the pervasive fear among immigrant and non-immigrant families. Many students worry that their parents and friends are being detained or deported, which is leading to chronic mental health issues and anxiety. This fear often manifests as decreased student attendance and participation. And you're going to hear many stories of how our schools are affected by superintendents, by teachers, by students, and community members. NPR News reached out to approximately 90 of Minnesota, more than 300 public school districts in the past weeks to ask whether student attendance was being affected by the presence of federal enforcement law agents throughout the state. Approximately 24 schools responded, with over half respondents, and most of them in the metro area, reported that many students are staying home from school, and it's not just our kids of color. It is all of our students are staying home from school because they or their families are afraid of encountering federal agents. In those districts with widespread federal activity, as many as 20 to 40% of students have been absent in our recent weeks. Across the state, we have worked so hard to build educational safe havens where students find support and stability. But when students and family feel targeted, we see that they withdraw from on-site instruction, school activities, or even relocate, adding to the loss of our community cohesion. This disruption is sure to have long-term effects on the social fabric of neighborhoods, our small businesses, and it's impacting our students' learning, their friendships, and their support networks. So as we move forward, it is essential to remember that it is the well-being of our children. Our children are our future, and they are what we must be concentrating on. As Nelson Mandela once said, there can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. We have now a number of speakers, and I'm going to turn this over to Mary Granlin, Community Heights.
I'm a parent, I'm a community member, and I'm a school board chair in Columbia Heights, Minnesota. It's been 1 week today since Liam was taken with his dad, Adrian, on his way home from school. Over the course of this, we've had 3 other students taken. One, the morning Liam was taken on his way to school, and 2 others, one who was driving to school with their mother, and the other who was getting ready for school and opened the door when she got a knock. Only one of those 4 students is home, and it is not Liam. Today, People across Columbia Heights woke up to cars still running, doors open, empty, left in the street. This morning on the way to school, the start of the second semester, we had another student in Columbia Heights pulled over by ICE. They only let them go because they happen to have their passport with them. I called the police this morning when I had 2 unmarked vehicles outside my house. I don't need to remind anybody in this room or watching this, the fear that elected officials have related to unmarked vehicles outside your home with people wearing tactical gear. The police verified it was ICE, and they stayed there. The ICE officers stayed there. This message is to remind people that this is not over. This is still continuing, and we need your help to get our kids home, to get our families and communities whole again. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Brenda Lewis, and I'm the superintendent of Fridley Public Schools. I am here today because the federal immigration enforcement activities we have seen in our communities over the past several weeks have profoundly impacted our students, our families, our staff, and the very ability of our district to provide safe, stable learning for every child. Our students and families should feel safe every time they walk out the door, whether they are going to school, waiting at a bus stop, or walking home. Instead, the increased presence of ICE and federal enforcement in and around our neighborhoods and schools has created an environment of fear and uncertainty that I have never seen in my 26 years in education. We have watched attendance in our schools decline significantly. Over a third of our students were absent the day after Renee Good's murder. Families have had to choose to keep their children home because they are too afraid to send them into our community. Many have told us they fear traveling to school because they do not know what they may encounter on the way. Because of this disruption and concern for safety, Fridley Public Schools made the very difficult decision. I made the very difficult decision to cancel in-person classes on January 9th and again on January 16th. We also stood up a remote learning option in a matter of days so students could continue learning when their families did not feel safe leaving home. Today, 16% of our students are now enrolled in virtual learning. We did not have a virtual learning program at the beginning of January because they either do not feel safe leaving home or cannot safely travel across our community. This impact has extended far beyond attendance. We have seen a dramatic increase in families requesting door-to-door transportation because parents do not want their children waiting at bus stops where they fear federal agents might appear. We are now transporting both students and staff in ways we never have before because our educators are afraid to travel alone. To meet immediate needs, we have stood up food delivery by our social workers for families who are too fearful to leave their homes. And we have expanded emergency rent assistance resources to support families who need stable housing during this crisis. This is not abstract for me or for our district leadership. I am personally patrolling with our security team every morning and every afternoon during arrival and dismissal. We are checking neighborhoods, bus stops, and school grounds for the safety of our students and their families. This is what leadership looks like when fear threatens the very heart of our school community. And I need to say this clearly. The fundamental right to go to school and the basic principle of human dignity has been ripped away from our children, our staff, and our families. None of this is partisan. This is about children, predominantly children of color, being treated as less than human, and about the dehumanization of those who stand with them. Our school district has been directly targeted, and we cannot pretend otherwise. We need helpers. We need leaders, advocates, and people of influence to step in and help end this. I am asking every key influencer in the state and across the country to put a stop to the terror that has been unleashed in my school district and in school districts across Minnesota. Fridley Public School District is a diverse district. We are nearly 80% students of color. Nearly 25% of our licensed staff are staff of color, and nearly half of our non-licensed staff are staff of color. We are proud of the diversity that makes our community strong, but that also means in our community, we are living with real trauma and in terror right now. And here is where I want to be absolutely clear. Superintendents across Minnesota, standing right behind me, are writing the playbook for how to stand up supports in the face of terror that continues to be unleashed on our school districts. We are transporting children and educators. We are providing food and rent support. We are standing up virtual learning overnight. We are patrolling our neighborhoods. We are working around the clock to protect our communities. Elected officials must take a page out of our playbook. They must put a stop to this absolute targeted, horrific act. We must not turn the other way. The literal lives of our children, our educators, and our families are at stake. It is past the time to act. If superintendents can lead through terror with clarity, courage, and humanity, then elected officials can and must do the same. Thank you.
All right, as you see there, listening in to these Minnesota lawmakers speaking on how the ICE operations in the city are impacting schools. We're going to slide away for our first 2-minute commercial break of the.
I had to get that because that was the louder one because they have another one going on. But however, the other one that's going on is the volume is just so low, and I don't have a volume enhancer to see what's going on. But it also looks like it appears that the situation at the Capitol building is no longer there. Let me just get this back. I'm going to put this back up here on the other one. The volume's a little bit low, so you might want to turn your volume up on the situation.
My fellow parents and neighbors, as we work to protect our community. I practice this a lot, people. I start my morning off like every caregiver, trying to get my child ready for school. In between bites of breakfast and sips of coffee, I'm checking the neighborhood feeds to see what the neighborhood is like around our school and our most important bus stops. Once I have successfully gotten my child dressed for school, we head outside, both with our whistles around our necks, just in case we need to alert our neighbors of danger. We arrive to the school and we greet our neighbors who have taken their time to show at our school. Our neighbors with the amazing frog hats and the giant smiles, the dog walkers who have changed their routines to include the school, and the retired teachers who cannot stop caring for our kids. Quickly after that, we are greeted by community cars bringing students to our school who don't feel safe coming with their parents. We try to greet them with a warm smile and a cheerful hello, but sometimes those students are scared. And that's when my small child walks up and says hello and offers to walk them into school. I am there every day because I want to give consistency and support to our children. Our schools need to be a safe and welcoming place for our students to come. This is why we need ICE out of our schools and ICE out of our state. After school, I pick up my child and 2 other students, and we begin my car service home. The moment we get in the car, one of our littlest friends asks for music. We find a playlist, and I try to imagine the parents who haven't left their homes in close to 7 to 8 weeks, trusting me, a stranger, with their kids, who can barely communicate with them, making sure that their kids get home and walk to their door. All of this is racing through my mind as I'm checking my mirrors for safety and still singing along with K-pop demon hunters. While I love that I have these experiences, it is their parents that should be in the car singing and hearing the stories of the day. The car ride is a special time for families. This is why we need ICE out of our schools and ICE out of Minnesota. Finally, I get home, I check in with my family, have dinner, respond to the endless text messages from my neighbors and community members, try to get some rest, knowing tomorrow we're going to do it all over again. This is the reality that parents and caregivers in Minnesota are experiencing. This is our normal. This is not an acceptable way to raise our next generation. This is why we need ICE out of our schools and ICE out of Minnesota. Kent. Kent.
Thank you very much. I'm Kent Pickell. I'm superintendent of Rochester Public Schools, bring a perspective from outside the metro area where these issues are definitely very much in play. If the COVID pandemic taught us anything, it's that it is deeply harmful to students and to society when kids are not in school. A large and consistent body of research shows that extended absences harm students' academic learning, social development, and mental health. We also know that the learning students miss during prolonged absences reduces their lifetime earnings and collectively the long-term prosperities of our communities and our state. The sharp increase in student absences that we are now seeing in Rochester and across Minnesota as a result of the recent federal immigration enforcement activity risks repeating those same harms if it does not end soon. In Rochester Public Schools, when we compare attendance data from January 9th through January 22nd, the height of this crisis for us down in Rochester, to the prior month, we see that more than 530 additional students have been absent from our schools every day. Some absences may be due to illness or other factors, but when we look only at absences excused at parent request, the patterns are unmistakable. During this period, we saw an 81% increase in excused absences among all students, but a 417% increase among students whose first language is not English. 116% increase among students from low-income families, a 68% increase among Asian American students, and a 376% increase among Latino students. We're also seeing significant decreases in attendance in our early childhood programs and our adult education programs, so at both ends of the spectrum. Now in Rochester, we have chosen not to move the district to hybrid or online learning. Instead, we're doing everything we can to keep schools open and welcoming and to give families options. Since January 7th, we've enrolled 186 new students in our online school, MinSync Online. So why are families keeping their children at home? It is not because immigration enforcement suddenly arrived in Rochester this month. Immigration enforcement has affected our community for decades. But historically, those actions were more targeted, and federal agencies often took steps on their own or in coordination with local authorities to minimize disruption to children and schools. The current surge is fundamentally different. Not only has the volume of enforcement activity increased dramatically, but its indiscriminate nature has created widespread fear. When people who appear to be immigrants, refugees, or people of color are stopped at random and asked to prove their legal status, that fear spreads quickly and it freezes families in place. That climate affects everyone in our schools. Students who stay home lose access to learning and support, and students who continue to attend school lose classmates, relationships, and the richness that comes from learning alongside peers from different backgrounds. And the students most affected, students of color, Indigenous students, and students whose first language is not English, are the very students who, on average, have the most academic ground to gain in Rochester and in our state. I know those students want to be in school, and Minnesota needs them back in school soon. Our collective future depends on it.
And next we have Peg.
Hello, my name is Peg Nelson, and I'm a teacher in Columbia Heights Public Schools. I'm also a local 710 building rep, and I've been teaching in the Columbia Heights Public Schools for 33 years. And in the past 33 years, I have never experienced any disruption or danger to students like the current ICE occupation of Minnesota. From pre-K through high school, our school district has been terrorized by ICE operations. These actions have changed the very fabric of our Columbia Heights schools and have made every student, teacher, and parent less safe. I have always enjoyed working in this diverse district because I have benefited deeply from the gifts our students bring to our school community. We have been a strong and caring community, and during these challenging times, we have come together to support one another and do everything possible to keep our families safe. Unfortunately, we have not been able to protect everyone. ICE has detained 4 Columbia Heights students, including 2 from elementary school. So many family members have been taken, we cannot count. And at this point, almost everyone in our school community knows someone who has been detained. These are frightening times for our students, family, staff, and educators. My colleagues and I are being asked questions by students and families that, for the first time in my career, I do not feel confident answering. Families send their children to our school believing they will be safe, and we want them to feel safe, but we don't know how much we can truly do to protect them. ICE operations are disrupting our children's learning. We try to keep the school day as normal as possible, but students and families look to their teachers for answers. Children ask, can they take us? And we don't know what to tell them. Families are afraid to leave their homes for fear of racial profiling and wrongful arrest. Students are afraid to come to school. We haven't seen absenteeism like this since COVID. At the same time, teachers are being asked to take on responsibilities far beyond our normal duties, placing an enormous burden on educators. We are doing everything we can, but we were not trained for this. After teaching all day, we deliver food to families in our most vulnerable areas. We wait with students in bus and parent pickup zones, trying to move as quickly as possible so families can come and go without risking encounters with ICE. Teachers and staff walk students to and from school each day to ensure their safety. Because teachers cannot legally drive students, retired principals, staff members, and neighbors have stepped in to help. We have raised funds through online fundraising at each school site to support families with food and supplies. Every school in the district has become a food collection and distribution center. Yet, even while delivering food, educators have been followed by ICE. Given the recent violent actions associated with ICE operations, educators are understandably afraid. Staff are doing their best to hold it together, but every day we wonder, how long is this sustainable? The toll of this ongoing presence is devastating to our community's safety and well-being. The Columbia Heights community is distraught. Children cry in class, worried about whether their parents will be home when they get off the bus. For the sake of our children, this must end now. I could not be prouder of our school district and community. From educators to principals to families and students, everyone has responded to this trauma with extraordinary strength. During unprecedented time, our community is giving everything it has to face these dangers, which have been forced upon us by our federal government. It is a time for our leaders to do what's right and protect Minnesota's children and educators by ending ICE operation in our state. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Samantha Wolf. I'm a parent of 2 young kids, 4 and 6 years old, and I live in Woodbury, Minnesota. Even living out in the suburbs, I cannot overstate how this federal ICE occupation in the Twin Cities is affecting family life all over Minnesota. Families are trying to comfort kids who are scared they will be taken, or their friends will be taken, or their parents will be taken. This occupation has turned the entire Twin Cities into a place of terror. When I heard ICE agents detain someone on a main road in Woodbury, a road I drive every day to get my kid to school, things got very real. The undercurrent of fear is everywhere. Should I take my kids to eat at a restaurant when I know ICE might show up violently to detain our neighbors? What will I tell them if one of their friends gets taken? Even just seeing ICE is scary now because we've all seen what they can do to someone who is holding them accountable. My kids' preschool, eye doctor, and pretty much everywhere we go now have signs designating areas as private, a warning for ICE officers if they come in. ICE is single-handedly destroying our sense of peace in the community. Like so many others, I've been helping my community by delivering food, diapers, and basic necessities to families in need. The first time I made a delivery to a family, it just broke me that this is even happening. I don't even know what to tell my kids when they ask why I needed to leave before bedtime again. and why we have so many diapers in our house if no one in the family wears diapers anymore. And I'm really lucky. Other families are having absolutely devastating conversations about missing family members and why they can't go to school or play in the park. These are conversations that no parent should ever have to have with their kid. I don't want to scare my kids, but I can't lie and say everything is normal because it so clearly isn't. After the kids go to bed, my conversations with my husband used to be about planning birthday parties and play dates, and instead, now we're making contingency plans for how to respond and explain to our kids that mama got detained for helping our neighbors. Gun-toting federal agents are kidnapping small children from the streets and pepper spraying our babies and following us home and harassing us while we perform our constitutional rights. None of this is normal. Every aspect of our lives has been turned upside down by ICE. Ordinary acts of helping neighbors have turned into dangerous operations. All of us are determined to do everything that we can to keep showing up for each other, but we shouldn't have to be put in this position. So that's why I'm joining with thousands of other Minnesotans and the folks behind me to demand ICE out of Minnesota right now. Next, we have Rhea, a student from Maple Grove.
Hi, my name is Rhea DeLoza, and I am a senior at Maple Grove Senior High. Thank you to the Sunrise organization for asking me to speak on behalf of students in Minnesota. I want to start by being honest. I live in Maple Grove. We have seen ICE's presence and raids ramp up significantly in the past few weeks. The impact on our school and greater city community is great. Many students at Maple Grove are now in e-learning or not coming to school at all. Many of my friends who are so passionate for justice and activism have been silenced because they fear for themselves or their own family's safety. But even then, the effect on Maple Grove pales in comparison to the immense damage done to communities and schools in the Twin Cities and in other targeted suburbs. This is because Maple Grove is a predominantly white area, and ICE is an openly racist institution that relies on racial profiling. Despite the varying levels of damage done to the school communities, there is something that is constant across them all: our sense of fear. Fear has absolutely no place in a school. Students should never, ever be afraid to come to school because of the fear of endangering themselves or their family. Students shouldn't have to fear being tear gassed on their school property. No one should feel the fear that Minnesota students face at school. ICE doesn't keep our communities safe. They make innocent, hardworking families and children fear for their safety and for their lives. Many school districts, including St. Paul and Minneapolis, have reopened the option of remote learning for students. My district, Osseo Area Schools, has an online learning option that they've had since COVID that has struggled to accommodate the amount of students who have registered for remote learning these past few weeks. On top of losing school as a safe space, those who are too fearful of theirs or their family's safety to go to school are losing valuable educational time and momentum. This is why, on Friday, January 30th, students across the metro will be walking out of school and going to the governor's mansion in St. Paul to deliver messages from our missing classmates and demand safe busing for students, the suspension of the policy that unenrolls students if they miss 15 consecutive days of school, and that standardized testing be paused due to the amount of students unable to attend school. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Steve Swedzinski, state senator from Eden Prairie and Minnetonka, but more important, I taught American government for 33 years.
I don't know how I would be teaching this right now, these times that we're living in. I just don't know how I would be both sides to the story. I want to thank you guys for all being here today. As all of you know, democracy dies in darkness, and you guys are the fourth estate, and thanks for getting this message out to everybody out there. You guys have been working double time, I imagine, these days. So thank you for being here today. Thank you to all the speakers that spoke before me. We have one more left. But before Representative Clardy comes up, I just want to say, during all those times I taught American government, I never thought I'd see something like this. I never once thought. We used to talk about all these tyrannical places. You know, the irony of this quote doesn't escape me. Above the Senate chambers in the hallway outside is this quote engraved in stone in the Minnesota state capitol. And the quote is, education is a better safeguard of liberty than a standing army. Yeah, really. Education is a better safeguard of liberty than a standing army. It's engraved in stone outside the Senate chambers. FDR, during the height of the 30s and all the horrors of the world that we were all going, well, we weren't, but our ancestors were going through, FDR tried to come up with a working definition of what a democracy looks like. And his working definition of a democracy was this: freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Freedom from fear. That's what our students are fearing right now. They're fearful. I don't remember much of going to the University of Minnesota. That's not an attack against the U. It's more what my side interests were like at the time. But nonetheless, at the University of Minnesota, one of the things they kept telling me about is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And if you can't get past here because you're not safe and you're suffering from fear, we can't possibly get those kids to self-actualization, which is the goal of every educator. In the short time that they get to fertilize and water them in their seats, we want to get them to be a self-actualized citizens. And in all those years of teaching, when I tried to instill in my students senses of civic duty and civic efficacy and civic engagement and political efficacy and all those wonderful things that our students are supposed to gain in a K through 12 educational system, we can't have them staying home because our democracy depends on it. Thanks for listening. Representative?
You got this.
Well, first of all, can I start out with a ditto? I'm Representative Clardy. I have the honor of representing the southern suburbs, or some of the southern suburbs, but more important than that, I'm a teacher. I just retired after 30 years of working for St. Paul Public Schools. So my story today is the impact of the little ones I worked with and why we do what we do. Right, Rep Chair Yukim? Okay. I don't know if you would understand how haunting it is to walk down the hallway and just see classrooms getting smaller and noticing kids just are not showing up at school. So I am thinking of a specific kindergarten classroom where 3 little ones did not come to school on a regular basis. And the importance of that is that they're learning. They're learning Spanish, they're learning English, they're learning how to be students. They also are learning how to, build a community. How can we keep telling kids that we are trying to make school safe for them when at the same time we're telling them that they need to stay home because school's not safe for them? And these are some very important years. ICE is not good for anyone in Minnesota, but a child trying to understand, what safety means, or trying to understand why their whole world is turned upside down, kind of wonky, and things are just not making sense. Can you imagine being a kindergartner and worrying about your parents' safety? Can you imagine wondering if your parents are going to meet you when you get off the bus or when you go home? These are what our kids are going through every day. And just as a kindergartner, we just need to, actually kindergartners all the way up to high school. I mean, think about, they've already lost learning because of COVID, some of them. Okay, so they've lost learning because of COVID and this. And what are we going to do when we look at our brown and black students' achievement? Are we going to forget that this happened? Are we just going to think, why are the brown and black kids not learning? Okay, so I have some questions for our electeds, and I guess I'm one of them, but what is our responsibility? And what do we do with the kids that have the learning loss with the COVID and this situation? How does that play into their employment opportunities in the future? And also just what can we do right now? So these are the questions that I have right now. And I'm sure that you have some questions for us. So I'm going to open it up to questions at this point.
There's been a lot of talk about electives. Which electives are you addressing?
Great question. All of us. But you know what? Even if you're not elected yet, it's your responsibility to do something. And sometimes we have to look to where we fit in. We have to get in where we fit in. So maybe not going on protest line, maybe that's not your thing, but maybe you know a neighbor next door that needs groceries, or maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're a retired teacher, and maybe you can volunteer to do some tutoring. So just everyone is responsible, but more than anything, I guess I'm really passionate about all of our kids. We spent a lot of money, right, Jerry Kim, to make sure that the schools are a place where kids can achieve. And if we are spending the money, we need to make sure they have the environment to do it in.
Question? Yes, I would love the superintendent of Columbia Heights, Zena.
Good afternoon, Zena Stenvik, Superintendent, Columbia Heights. As many of you know, 1 week ago today, our little Liam Conejo Ramos was detained by ICE. And we've all seen the bunny hat, but I want to make sure everyone's connecting the dots that Conejo, his first primary last name, Conejo, means rabbit, means bunny. So I've been getting many emails where the entirety of the message is, Yo soy Conejo. I am the rabbit. So hearkening back to World War II era, many of you may have heard the story of Sadako and the 1,000 paper cranes. Columbia Heights Public Schools and our community were working on our origami conejos. Thanks.
So a couple weeks ago, I received a number of messages from different districts, and Senator Clark sent me an urgent, wherever he is, an urgent message about the necessity and the worry that many kids are coming up on that 15-day drop date. In Minnesota, if a student misses 15 consecutive days, they're automatically dropped from the district, from the rolls. So we sent a message to the governor and to the commissioner of education asking if there was something that could be done, an executive decision, executive proclamation or something like that. They went and looked at what could be done, and they created flexibility for the school districts to decide how to ensure that those kids not be dropped and fall out of the system. And if that means online learning or other ways to address the needs of those students, the school districts have that flexibility.
May I please add?
Yes.
This is something that's very big in my work in Columbia Heights in the middle school, and this is something that my staff really wanted other people to understand. I don't think you would. Most of our families that we deal with that are experiencing this, the most vulnerable families, are extremely obedient. I don't know a better word. They want to do right. They listen to teachers. They listen to principals. They're there when you tell them to be. So when you tell them after 15 days, you're wrong, there's some truancy court, there is a legal aspect as well, but it's putting them in an extremely hard situation. They want to be a good part of our community and follow our rules, but they're not going to risk it by getting outside of their house. So it's hard for us for rostering and for a bunch of, red tape kind of things, but it's really that it puts even another just impossible lose-lose ask onto these families.
Yes.
Are you hearing support for these ideas from your colleagues across the aisle, even if it's just behind the scenes?
Well, I can't speak for any of the other electeds here, but I haven't heard a word from any of them. Not a word.
How does that make you feel?
On the one hand, I am not surprised, given, the past rhetoric around education. And when we hear, some of the comments from other electeds about we just all need to, kind of shut up and shut down and let ICE do whatever they want with our communities. But it's actually very heartbreaking because you have to believe that our elected officials on the other side have heart. We have to believe that they have a sense of what's right and what's wrong. We have to believe that they know that the terror that is happening across our state is absolutely wrong. And the fact that they don't step up and say something, or they don't talk to us about how they can help support our families in any way, shape, or form, that tells you that they don't have the moral fortitude or courage to step up and do what's right. And so, speaking for myself, I find that to be a really, really sad state of being. I think we have some other comments.
Hi there, Christine Tucci Osorio, Superintendent in North St. Paul, Maplewood, Oakdale. One thing I want to bring up today is that in education, we often try to stay clear of political issues, right? We serve all of our communities, and we try to really be nonpartisan in the way we operate. One thing that, as I've gotten questions, why aren't you just sticking to education? Why are you sticking your nose in politics? My response is, throughout this crisis, as with many other crises like the pandemic and previously, two things come to mind. As school leaders, we're focused on safety and safety of students, staff, and families, and student learning. And when things are happening that get in the way of those two things, it is our deal to deal with. It is our job to speak out about it. And so it's not coming from a place of partisanship. It's coming from a place of protecting learning, safety, and student learning. And so you see a lot of angry educators behind me because we're really, for the first time, trying to, we try to stay out of politics, but right now we can't. We have to raise the issue that these issues are impacting safety and student learning. And I'm going to hit those 2 points over and over and over again because it is our job to speak up on these issues.
I just wanted to add, as the House Education Finance Chair in 23-24, we created a whole funding stream to make sure that we had more psychologists, school nurses, social workers, and counselors in our schools. And just as we're just starting to see the benefits of that on our last Minnesota student survey, we're now going steps and steps backwards. And as Superintendent Osorio said, this is all of our issue. And as electeds, we try to look at the funding stream and make sure, working with, as Senator Cooner said, Minnesota Department of Education, to make sure there's that flexibility for districts to meet their students where they're at. I want our fellow electeds to meet our students where they're at. And in the House, we're tied. We don't have as much flexibility to have the extra hearings during interim to do anything. And early last week, our colleagues in the House across the aisle sent a letter that has been made public that was a little terse about us standing down and just following the rules. But there's hope within that too, because not all of our House GOP colleagues signed on to it. So as leaders, we need to put ourselves in it, but while also making sure we don't put our emotions in it, which is really hard at this point in time, and continue to try to work across the aisle so that we can make sure our kids have what they need, our schools have what they need, and our families have what they need to succeed.
And I just want to add, who asked the question? I'm sorry.
Just go.
Okay, anyways, two of the Republicans on ed policy have reached out to me, and two Republicans on ed policy have reached out to me personally, and just said they're excited about this session and learning and trying to do what they hope will be the right thing. So.
Hello, my name is Olivia Timmons. I teach ECFE, Early Childhood Family Education, for the District of Columbia Heights. My students are birth to 5 years, so I have the literally youngest and first learners in our district. My attendance has been really low, and I think that we need to be mindful that this is a traumatic situation, and trauma literally rewires the brain of humans. So this entire event is literally rewiring the brains of our learners. And that will have lifelong impacts on all of them. And that's important to know. We need ICE out now.
One more. Got a question about your poster. Is that the same 5-year-old whose father abandoned him?
Oh, no.
Because there was a child that ICE went after the dad. Dad took off out of the car. Left him.
That's not true. So
Is that the same one?
that is a total false narrative.
Yep. I was there.
Okay, I'm so mad.
So, I take a lot of issue with the idea that this, the lies that are being spread about what happened that day. I was there. I knew multiple community members who were also there at that time, and he did not run. He did not abandon his child. The car was still running. They took him out of it. He did not. Yeah, those are the facts.
All right, thank you very much. And we just want to leave with, it's important that ICE gets out of our schools and stays out of our schools. Thank you.
All right, folks. So this was looks like a lot of superintendents, school officials in different Twin Cities areas, all collectively here at a big press conference, basically saying ICE out. Now, I want to put this up here because it seems like this organization, because one of the students said, I want to thank the Sunshine Movement for organizing this press conference. And look at the Sunshine Movement. Sunshine Movement is a group that has been going out, banging pots and pans. That's who organized this, the Sunshine Movement. That's what the student said. Go back and listen, because then it piqued my antenna. Like, okay, we know the organizer of this, but this is a group that goes out there and bangs pots and pans and all that kind of stuff. Pretty crazy, right? So another thing I want to share, let me put this up. Speaking of pots and pans, Maple Grove, some officials or people there were speaking from Maple Grove. The student was speaking from Maple Grove. I want to share a list of mugshots of people that got arrested last night in Maple Grove for trying to cause a ruckus at the Spring Hill Suites Residence Inn, where they thought ICE agents were staying at. Here's the list. Here's the list of some of the people that have been arrested that mugshot. So we were watching last night live, and we were watching, the chaos last night. Sunshine Movement is part of this organization too, to organize these people to go out to apparently to, protest at different locations, including hotels. Well, look at this one. Samantha Faye Muchowski, 24 years old, city not listed. So this is the first arrest. This person has been arrested for rioting, arrested by State Patrol. Here's number 2, this guy right here, Justin Neal Shelton, 37, arrested by Maple Grove PD on obstructing the legal process. Here's another one. Eric Raphael Bolander, 29, not listed city, arrested by State Patrol for rioting. And then here's another one arrested last night. Jaylyn Marie Rodriguez, 24, no city listed, arrested by State Patrol on rioting charges. Here's another one. This person here, arrested. Kashmir Landay Hamilton Greneu, 19, no city listed, arrested by State Patrol on riots. That's number 6. Here's another one that got arrested last night for the hotel incident. Bailey Ray Shawlisser, 26, no city listed, arrested by State Patrol for rioting. Here's another one. Sarah Nicole Workman, 28, no city listed, arrested by Maple Grove PD on rioting. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Here we go. Another one. Now, this one's interesting. I retweeted this individual because this individual here, Freya James Ebison, 23, arrested by Maple Grove PD on riot. Now, this individual right here is a nurse in Minneapolis, a birthing, works childcare birth nurse. So, Freya James Ebison, transgender. Here's another one. Raina Michelle Alston, 21, not listed, arrested by Maple Grove PD on riot charges. Now, this guy here, John Liddon Gribble, I get like, you ever watch the movie Heat with Robert De Niro and all them and Val Kilmer? You ever get Wayne Grow, that one guy, Wayne Grow, they recruited as being a bank robber. I get some really bank robber vibes with this guy. This guy actually has a extensive criminal record from, I looked him up. I looked all these people up. This guy has an extensive criminal record from Tennessee, assaults and everything. He looked like Wayne Grow. And then the Crime Watch Minneapolis just goes on to say, oh, wait, there's more. But they said these people all look like Charles Manson groupies. It's creepy. All these people look like Charles Manson groupies. Is that true? Is there any truth to that? Charles Manson groupies? These are the people that got arrested last night for being out in front of the hotel in Maple Grove. Maple Grove PD shut that all down pretty quickly last night. We watched it. Oh, here's a new list of more people. Overnight arrests. All charges are probable cause at this point. Abraham Nelson Coleman, 45. Oliver Kilgore Jones, 27. Damage. They were arrested for damage of property. I wonder what they were probably the ones that banging on the spring. See, somebody was getting a shovel and was going bing, 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 and putting the dents in the sign. Here's another one. Ethan Michael Helmstalter, 31, and Josephine J. Gilbrew. I don't know. These 4 got arrested last night too. So it's a group of people. Looks like there's more. Megan Ashley Larson, 24, no city listed, arrested for rioting. So here you go. Those are the people that got arrested last night. We saw a bunch of arrests. It looks like probably over a dozen people got arrested from that. Now, I also want to share some other information. This has been circulating by the White House here. So, Homan is in Minneapolis talking to authorities. He met with Tim Walz. I believe he also met with Jacob Frey already. But this is what the White House just put out. They put out, here's what the White House is asking for Minnesota officials to do. Turn over all incarcerated or active warrant criminal illegal aliens for immediate deportation. So they're pretty much saying to Minneapolis, St. Paul, and all the cities, or even the state, turn over all incarcerated or active warrant criminal illegal aliens for immediate deportation. So all those people sitting in jails, institutions, prisons, turn them over. Now, I believe in the state, the Department of Corrections, DOC, I believe they already do that. They already hand over as far as state. So that seems like that has already been going on in Minnesota. It's not like Minnesota DOC is withholding. Even California, the DOC hands over ICE detainers, not sanctuary city jails, but the DOC. But they're actually saying pretty much this goes to Minneapolis, Hennepin County, St. Paul, all that area, all those communities. Hand over the incarcerated individuals. Active warrant, criminal illegal aliens. Transfer all criminal illegal aliens arrested by state and local police. Transfer them over. Anyone that gets arrested, criminal illegal alien in any of these sanctuary cities, hand them over. Are these unreasonable demands? Because I think if they comply with these demands, I think Operation Metro Surge goes away. Like as far as the Border Patrol, with their 3,000, troops or soldiers or whatever you want to call them, agents, Border Patrol agents, Operation Metro Surge would end if some of these demands, there's only like 4 demands right here. Assist federal authorities in detaining criminal illegal aliens wanted for crimes. So assist federal authorities. We're talking about the Minneapolis. We'll just use the example, Minneapolis Police Department. Assist federal authorities in detaining criminal illegal aliens wanted for crimes. And then number 4, Democrats must work with the federal government in a rapid removal of all criminal illegal aliens. Now, all these 4 words pretty much are saying criminal illegal aliens. 1, 2, 3, 4. Criminal illegal aliens. What's so hard about this? Because all this could probably come to an end if you get this type of level cooperation, which is normal anywhere else. It's normal anywhere else. Anywhere else around this country besides some of these sanctuary cities, it's federal partnership with the state locals all the time. This is not an unreasonable request. This is what they're asking for. If the state, by the way, Jacob Frey responds, by the way, let me get that up. If the state would just, or the city officials would just comply with that, I think all the suited up Border Patrol agents all around the cities, with ICE, it would end. Operation Metro Surge would end as far as that. Now, ICE is going to stay there, right? Because they got to do immigration enforcement. ICE is everywhere. ICE is in like all these cities. There's partnerships with most cities and communities across the United States with ICE. The Border Patrol is not needed. The Border Patrol can go back to the border. They can go back to the border and do their job. They don't need to be in the streets, but they're needed in the streets because politicians there not honoring these ICE detainers, releasing criminals on the streets. ICE needs assistance to apprehend these people and also safety from a roving group of people that don't want them around. It's not that. Here, let me get Frey up here. I'm going to get Frey. Hold on. I'm going to get Frey up here. I'm going to get his tweets out here because Frey responds and talks about things here. I'm going to get Jacob Frey. We'll get Jacob Frey up in the mix. So Frey responds to a few things, and he says, today is a good day for ICE to get out of Minnesota. So there he goes. Today is a good day for ICE. Well, that was January 11th. I'm sorry. That was his pinned tweet. Let's just go here. Today, Chief O'Hara and I met with Border Czar Homan and had a productive conversation. I reiterated that my main ask is for Operation Metro Surge to end as quickly as possible. Okay. Public safety works best when it's built on community trust, not tactics that create fear or division. I shared with Mr. Homan the serious negative impacts this Operation Metro Surge, has had on Minneapolis and surrounding communities, as well as the strain it has placed on our local police officers. He goes on to say, I made it clear that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws. See, this is where it's going to be a problem here, because he's basically saying, I also made it clear that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws, and that we will remain focused on keeping our neighbors and streets safe. City leaders will continue to stay in conversation with Mr. Homan and his team. This is the problem here, because he's pretty much saying we're not going to basically assist in any way, shape, or form. But as you saw, the White House is just saying assist federal authorities in detaining criminal illegal aliens wanted for crimes. Meaning, feds out there, that's number 3. You see number 3. That's what the White House is asking for. But Jacob Frey is saying that he's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. Frey's not going to do that. So that's the problem we have here. And that's kind of like, you know, is there going to be, is one side going to budge from the other? Because I don't think the Trump administration really wants Operation Metro Surge. They just had to do it because you got a mess in that Twin City areas of like very violent, dangerous people running around. And all the federal government wants to do is round these people up. And the course of rounding these people up, the resistance, which resulted in 2 people getting killed, another person shot, the chaos in the streets, the tear gas, the flashbangs, and all that. What gives? When will this end? What's the solution? What's the solution? Thank you, William Kaufman. Great to see you each and every day. Yes, we're aware about the border patrol, shooting down there in Arizona, just south of Tucson. There was a shooting down there. Somebody critically injured. Crazy stuff, folks. So that's what we have. You know, we'll continue to monitor. We'll continue to see. We'll see if this eventually ends and everyone can go back to their normal lives. We shall see. In the meantime, I believe they're actually trying to impeach Kristi Noem. So I think she's going to, I don't know, they're demanding now that she either resigns or she gets impeached. So it's probably going to be all types of hearings and everything like that on that matter. Will Hennepin County sheriffs comply with ICE detainers in their jails? Because we've been hearing over and over from the federal government, just hand them over. Hand them over. What is so hard about that? We don't have to be in the neighborhoods going to hunt these people down. Hand them over. But they don't because of policies. Now, it also appears that some members of Congress are trying to create legislation to eliminate and annihilate sanctuary city policies completely. Hand them over. And Operation Metro Surge wouldn't be happening. This would have never happened. Literally, if they would just do what many in most communities, 99% of the communities around the country are doing right now, we wouldn't have this situation. All right. Look. See OJ? Look. It's chilling today. All right. So that's what we got, folks. That's what we got for this particular live. Not much more to report. I don't see anything else popping off or anything like that. But if something pops off, you'll definitely hear it here on the channel. We're staying on this topic. We're not going away. We're not letting the foot off the gas. We're going to find out every twist and turn, what people say, what's happening, press conferences, elected officials, school people, everybody. We're going to pay attention to what's up, and we'll stay with this. So I think we've been on this every day as best as we can. If any chaos breaks out tonight on this topic, you'll hear it here. Pray for peace. All right, folks. We cover breaking news, true crime, 24/7, 365. We'll talk soon. Hopefully nothing else breaks tonight. I need a break. All right, y'all be safe. Thanks for watching. JLR Investigates. We'll talk soon.